And I know a lot of really wealthy people who simply don't understand this, and that's why there's a train wreck coming at them, or they're missing a chance to get even more wealthy. My name is Dinny Collins from Bitcoin with Dinny. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Make sure you like and subscribe. The job of this channel is try and pass on all the information that I've learned over the last, I guess, 20 years. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. And I started my journey at the very, very bottom, living in a caravan with absolutely zero on a bank account. And just had to learn along the way. What this channel won't promise you, okay, is false promises. Promises of get rich quick. That's all nonsense and hype, okay? This channel won't promise you fancy cars and flashy cars without doing any work or any of that stuff. Um, but it will help you understand how to get your time back and your freedom back. I'm currently living in my camper van out in Spain here. I come out here this time of year to miss a bit of the Irish winter, and the surf in northern Spain just be awesome. And I have a little bit of time, and I was just having to think about this, and I think it's important to try and figure this out because everyone has this wrong, okay? You've got two jobs, okay? And everyone focuses on the first one and they forget about the second one. But it's the second one that gets you rich. It's the second one that'll retire you early. Okay, it's the second one that if you want the flashy things, the fancy, and full disclosure, I do have a fancy car. I don't live like a peasant all my life. Although I did put on a collar today so I didn't look like so much of a surf bum. um, but everyone focuses on the second or on the first, and it's the second that actually gives you financial freedom. Okay, and as usual, we have it all wrong. Of course, we have it wrong. Our school system sets us up to have everything wrong because our school system is to set up factory workers. But we don't need factory workers anymore. We don't have factories. It's all automated. We have machines to do all that. Okay, so we need people who can critically think. And when you can critically think, you set yourself up to get yourself in a really good position because your peers can't. Most of the world can only remember. Okay, and they think that means intelligence. Okay, but it's not. That's why we have phones. That's why we have Google. All right, so it doesn't matter how terrible you are at school. Some of the biggest masters in my class, myself included, went on to be the very most successful. And some of the people who are always teachers' pets, you know, they all have jobs. They work hard. They have debt. They have mortgages. They have all the normal stuff. So none of that stuff matters. And I want you to break free, okay, from the little box that you're put in. And I'm going to explain this to you, okay? Your first job is your job. That's what you that's what you exchange your time for. You go to your normal job and you do it. And you can have more than one of these. If you want to get ahead, right now, people need more than one job. So they need two jobs, okay? Or three jobs, okay? But that's where you exchange your time for money and then you get the money, okay? But that's only the first half. You can never get rich with a job, okay? The whole system, the tax system, the fact you're exchanging your time for money, the lack of leverage, you cannot get rich in a job. It can't be done. Okay, and over my life from working with people and having clients and all the different businesses I've had, I've met high earners. I've met people who earn, you know, close to 500 grand, some people, and still these people struggle for money. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You're focused on your job. You need to understand the second job. That's how you get rich. Okay, so how much you earn doesn't dictate how wealthy you'll be. Wealth isn't a combination of a bank balance. To me, wealth is a combination of your net worth, your health, and the amount of time you have. Them sort of three things combined it is a person's wealth rather than just their net worth. It's a little bit more than that because you can have a huge net worth but no time and no health, and you're going to die sooner and you'll never have time to enjoy your money. That's not wealth, okay? So wealth has to be a combination of having health, having time, and having money. All right. So the first point is your job is only your first thing. Get the money, okay? But then your second job, okay, because you need to have this, is you have to become a hedge fund manager. What the hell is a hedge fund manager, Dinny? A hedge fund, okay, is a company that makes strategic investments and trades to turn money into more money. They're basically getting money working for them, okay? Now, we normally outsource this, particularly in Ireland, where I'm from. We outsource this and we give our money to a pension manager, or we just buy into a private pension, or we give our money to a financial advisor. And this is a terrible thing to do, okay? Because people don't understand the law of compounding. I understood this. When I was 19 or 20, I read a book on compound interest. It was one of the best books I ever read because it just taught me about the law of compounding. Because you compound interest, but then you've also debt compounding or charges compounding. And that's the reason why you'll never get rich with a pension. You'll never get rich by giving your money away for someone else to manage for you. If you already are rich and you don't want to do the work, well, then that person can manage it and you'll make them rich and you can stay rich as well if they're good at it. But if you're not already rich, you can't get wealthy by outsourcing and giving them money away. You have to do it for yourself. You have to understand. And the first thing you have to understand is how money works. Okay? For the first half of my life, when I lived in a caravan, when I never had money, I didn't understand how money works. So how could I ever get money to work for me? I worked for money. I exchanged my time for it and I got some money and I could never have enough because I never understood how the fecker worked. And the irony was, no one around me understood either. And it was just a general consensus that none of us understand how this thing works. Yet we devote the majority of our life to chasing it, thinking about it, desiring it, wanting it. Like, there's a certain degree of irony there. But anyway, eventually I got sense and I figured out how money works. In about 2014, I read a book called Money Master the Game. It wasn't my first finance book. As I said, I was reading books on money all my life because I came from a poor family and I wanted to become wealthy. And Money Master the Game, let me know in the comments if you ever heard of that book or if you ever read it. It's a seriously thick book. I read it actually 3 times. It took me so long to read it. I got it on audiobook as well. And Tony Robbins basically goes through investing and all the stuff. And not everything in that book made sense to me now. Today, I understand absolutely every piece of that book. And that's the beauty of time and just being in something and learning. But what I did get from that book is if you outsource, you will never get ahead. Okay? And you can just personally self-manage your own finances, which is something I've done ever since I've been an entrepreneur. My account would always go, what about a pension? We can put some money into pension. All these tax incentives, I can get you to talk to a pension guy. I'm like, nah, it's grand. Give me the money. I'll look after my own money. I'll make myself rich rather than someone else rich. Okay? And if there's mistakes to be made, I'll make them and I'll own them and I'll learn from them rather than giving it to someone else where I didn't even know what happened. I just lost all my money. And unfortunately, side point, but in our Retire Early Club, our meeting on Thursday, there was 2 gentlemen on, and both of them, were in their later 50s and had disaster stories about pensions and were so nervous to invest. And it's like they're trying to start now, being almost 60 years of age, and they're trying to start to try and take control of the situation. Imagine starting when you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. Time to start's always now. Okay, and you can have your private pension, make them people wealthy, but you should also create your own one. Okay, so you've got to become a hedge fund manager. You've got to take this on board and start learning about money. Okay, now the beauty about learning about money is it makes you rich. Okay, and that's kind of good because people like to be rich. People like to have stuff. Okay, my point though, okay, that I want to get across in this video, and hopefully you'll share this video and push it out with your by hitting the like button. That's the best way. I call it the daily exercise. Just give the like button a nice little press for me. But share with friends and family, because what people don't understand is you're not going to have a choice. Okay, for most of my life, I had a choice. I could only focus on job 1 and I'd be okay. I could do okay if I didn't want to be the hedge fund manager. I could never get rich, but just by focusing on my job and maybe getting a second job or run a little business, life could be good and life could be okay and I could keep my head above water. But as we go into the latter part of this decade, it's really apparent, not just to me, but to people much more sophisticated and smarter than me, all the people who I've learned from, all the books I've read, the Ray Dalios of the world, the Paul Tudor Jones of the world, okay, Strand Druckenmillers, all these legendary Bill Miller investors, that we have a problem, okay? We have a debt spiral that we're all in. That's why we have this high inflation. And yeah, it's going to fizzle down for now, but the debt has to be serviced. Okay, and we used to talk about debt in billions, and now we talk about it in trillions. We don't really see the difference in those numbers. Doesn't actually, there's a crazy difference. Okay, but the debt can't go away. Imagine if you take out debt, okay, and you're not able to repay the debt. So what you do is you take out another credit card to pay off the first credit card. And then you're not paid off that. So you take out a third credit card. Do you think like things are going to end up well for you? Do you think that's going to all end up rosy when you're in your 4th credit card? No, you're in a debt spiral, baby. You're about to lose your house and everything you have. Well, that's the situation that all our government's in. They're all broke. Okay? And the only solution is to debase the currencies. And it's an amazing solution because it silently steals the wealth from those that don't understand how money works, which is the majority of the world. And that's why you don't have a choice but to start to focus on your job, to become a hedge fund manager, start to figure out how money works. Because just like in the last 3 years, since 2020, the price of everything has gone up how many 100%? And you were told inflation was 9%, 6%, but things have doubled. Things have doubled. That's 100% inflation. Some things have gone up more than that. Okay? And the problem with inflation is it compounds. So compounding makes you really wealthy. That's how I retired myself under 40, was by leveraging compounding. But the inverse of that, when it comes to inflation compounding, it will make wealthy people very poor very fast, and they won't see it coming. It's a train wreck waiting to happen. Okay, so you don't have a choice now but to start focusing on how money works. Now the positive, let's put the positive on it. The positive is that what's the worst that can happen? Is you just get rich as well. So instead of getting poor, you actually get rich, because rather than just working your job, you actually focus on what matters, and that's what you do with your money. Okay, what you do with your money. That's your second job, being the hedge fund manager. How you invest your money, because that's where you get the bang for your buck. For me, my biggest investment when I knew nothing was into education. I read all the books, I took all the courses, I paid people to teach me. Okay, shameless plug. If you want to help to build a Plan B pension, check out Bitcoin With Dinny. .com and see all our consulting services where we build our clients Plan B pensions. We teach you how to insure your entire net worth, okay, to be future proofed, to take you into the future that's blatantly apparent that we're going to. You know, the door is open, our foot is in it. It's so obvious. We'll have walked through it in 10 years and nobody will be able to say, Dinny, why didn't you tell us? Because I get on this bloody thing nearly every day and give you some sort of advice to try and teach you where the world is coming and how to position yourself. Okay, so the debt can only be serviced by more debt. This creates inflation. This means people who own assets, wealthy people, it means wealthy people get wealthier. It also means that poor people who don't own assets and who only own a currency, they've got some savings in a bank account, or they've got some pension that's basically a derivative of the currency, they get wrecked. Their wealth gets passed to the wealthy people who own the hard assets. Okay? And most of them won't understand how that's happened or why that's happened. And that's why it's important. Okay? It's important to start figuring this stuff out now. Because when you can start to see the flames, it's too late to be looking for the fire exits. Once you hear the alarm, you start looking around. Now, I know a lot of you people don't pay attention to any of this stuff. Okay? But I'm going to give you a bait and switch. A bait and switch is a term in marketing. Screw all that. The world will be grand. We'll be optimists. Okay? But figuring this stuff out will allow you to retire early, and it will allow you to get rich. So that's your bait and switch. Come for the money. But one thing I'll say is your government's not going to save you. They don't have money. They don't make money. All they do is print money, which steals your money. Okay, so they can't save you like they used to for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years. All right? Your financial advisor is not going to save you because he doesn't even understand how money works. He's a money advisor and he still works. Like, come on! Rational thought, people. It's like going to a personal trainer who's fat as a barrel and they're going to teach you how to lose weight. Jesus. That's a crazy world, but hey, okay? Your pension advisor. He wants to sell you a pension. Okay, that's how he makes his money. She makes her money. He's selling you some crappy product that's a currency derivative. They're not going to save you. They're going to tell you how great it is while you all walk off the cliff together. All right? And your wealthy friend, all right, who's always done things one way, is about to get blockbustered. Okay, you remember the story of Blockbuster? They had a monopoly on media entertainment. And then Netflix, for this little startup, came out of nowhere. No one ever heard of them. They went to Blockbuster, asked them for $1 million to buy their company. $1 million. Blockbuster laughed them out of the boardroom. And a few short years later, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy, and Netflix became one of the biggest companies in the world. Okay, so that's what's coming, because what worked in the past isn't going to work in the future. There are many books to read on how money works. But all fiat currencies go into debt spirals. None of them last. They generally last 100 years. The dollar's been the world reserve currency for like 120 years or something. You know, it's on borrowed time. The writing's on the wall. The smartest money people in the world are telling you to prepare for this. Meanwhile, the system is telling you everything's great. And it will be for them, because they'll print their way out of it, and poor people are going to get poorer, and middle class are basically being obliterated at the moment. Okay, and your crazy Bitcoiner friend, who was all a conspiracy about central bank digital money and money printers and having a hard money, well, that's who you need to go and ask advice for, because these people probably understand the macro environment that you're going into. Okay, and if they practice what they preach, you'll probably find they don't work as much as you. They don't have any worries about the future either. Okay, they're in a much better financial position today. And maybe if they're only getting started on their journey and they're within their 4-year apprenticeship, they're still going through that and their head is down. But this is where we go. It's going to be more important to focus on the second task you have, which is understanding what to do with your money and how to protect it and how to keep the money that you're earning, rather than just trying to earn more money. Typically, that's what people think they can do. They can earn more to get themselves out of the mess and just work harder. It doesn't work like that. You can work smarter. As I say, I know a lot of wealthy people who get paid a lot of money and they're all one phone call away from bankruptcy. Okay, because just as much as their government doesn't understand debt, they don't understand it either, and they carry way too much debt, and they don't realize the risk it is. So, what I'll finish with is, it doesn't matter how much you earn. If you want to retire early, it matters what you do with your money that you do earn, because that's your bang for your buck. Guys, I hope you got some value from the video. If you did, give it a like, give it a share, and if you have any questions, give it a comment. And it's a rainy day here in Spain. That's why I'm just sitting in the van. But the rain seems to have stopped now, so I'll go check the surf, and we maybe get a few waves in the afternoon. Have a super day, guys. Dinny out. Thanks for being here. Boom.